So Rudolf Steiner says that when Adam, the original Adam, was created, he had a sister soul, the sister soul of Adam, he calls him, and later, through the Luke Gospel genealogy, calls him the Nathan soul. So Adam incarnates, and let's just go through a few planetary conditions and ignore those and go straight to Lemuria, because that should blow your mind enough. On Lemuria, there was a Garden of Eden. And during that time, just like the snake winding up around the tree of knowledge of good and evil, there was a temptation that was made, and the temptation was to stand up on two legs instead of go around like a gorilla and start to rearrange your sense organs so that you would be able to move and live more freely, not like an animal out of basically your own astral desires, or as an automaton just looking for food. Thank God for women, because women started writing, making pictures on the walls, and those are the oldest pictures that we have of human culture, and they started singing, which created speech. So standing upright was then preceded by a certain type of picture image and also some singing. Later, there was a second Garden of Eden on Atlantis. And at that time, human beings were divided like the Tower of Babel, and they needed to learn how to speak, and learn how to speak the language of nature, and the language that then they would be able to work with nature. And later, as we hear in these perfected bodies of Christ that were given to the scholastics and the Dominicans, thinking rose up to a new realm altogether. So on Lemuria, it was the willpower that had to be saved. On Atlantis, it was feelings, and now it is our thinking. So Christ looked down from his throne on the sun and said to the Nathan soul, to the sister soul of Adam, we need to go down and intervene and stop the forces of hindrance, the forces of evil, Lucifer and Ahriman, particularly at that time, Lucifer, impinging upon human senses. And we need to salvage and redeem human senses and cause the human being to stand upright so that it will be later a vessel, a vehicle for the I am. So that happened. That was the first cosmic deed of Christ. Then on Atlantis, the Nathan soul intervened with the help of Christ to help human beings learn how to organize speech. And without that, of course, we couldn't have evolved. And that was the second cosmic deed of Christ, with the help of the Nathan soul, the sister soul of Adam. Now, mind you, Adam was incarnating at those times, but more as a human and in a human physical body reincarnating, and was not in contact with the Nathan soul, his perfect sister soul. And us too. We are not in contact with our sister soul. And that in Hebrew is called Adam Kadmon. So Tyler and I invented the term Eve Kadmon, because if there was an Adam Kadmon, then there's an Eve Kadmon. And then when you see that who is standing underneath, who is on the cross and standing underneath the cross, all of cosmic human history is spelled out in such detail that it is shocking. But the being of the Nathan child on Atlantis worked through an archangel and brought speech into order. And then this Nathan being comes down and is not going to yet be ready to help Christ incarnate, but came into the being that they called Krishna at the time, who met with Arjuna on the battlefield of the two different forces that were fighting at that time as they went into the Kali Yuga. So Christ, through Nathan, taught the yogas to the ancient cultures as they went into the Dark Age, through this same being, this Nathan being. But then when Christ was born as Jesus of Nazareth in an Essene community, his mother was this pure Eve Kadmon, a being who was the sister soul of Eve, who had never incarnated. And so she was the perfect vehicle. That's why she was so immaculate. And she birthed another being that was beyond human being, that was beyond the original template of what the human being was. It was the template plus the three interventions of the cosmic deeds of Christ that caused us to stand upright, speak, and think. Without that, we wouldn't be human. And so this being incarnated in Jesus of Nazareth, and at age 12, received a part of the body of an ancient Persian leader called Zarathustra, who had donated his astral body to Hermes, and his etheric body to Moses. And this is how complicated reincarnation happens. And at the time of the birth of this Nathan Jesus, the Star of Bethlehem happened. That was the angel body of Buddha, Gautama Buddha. So the higher beings all saw this happening before it happened. They saw Christ approaching the earth through these gifts of the Nathan being, or the pre-earthly deeds of Christ. They saw the fourth deed of Christ as the mystery of Golgotha. And any being that was able to witness that or understand it is on the path of ascension. For those of us who aren't, Christ basically, you could say, was born again. His second coming happened in the etheric realm as the fifth deed of Christ. And that's where Christ has never left us and has given us perfected vehicles to help us evolve, and where Christianity is being spread by these perfected vehicles. So if you're a Christian and you're teaching this cosmic wisdom of Christ, you can receive this wisdom, and it might be acting through you even in smaller ways at moments that you have inspirations and true intuitions of the cosmic Christ. But then in the future, into the far future, into the sixth and seventh epoch, we're going to see Christ redeem the astral as he's redeeming the etheric now and appearing in the second coming in the etheric. In the astral, he'll be walking right next to you. Your conscience will literally be Christ walking right next to you. And that Christ walking next to you is going to be a part of you. And then after that, he will redeem the ego. And when he redeems the true ego, the true I am, then Christ, Sophia, the whole hierarchy, the Trinity will also be, you will see them. They will be right there with you, and you will be participating. And if you're a cosmologist like John and I, we can go into great detail of exactly how long these periods are, what it happens, demonstrate to you through history that yes, this is the regency of the Archangel Michael, and this is what usually happens in history at that time. And these are not imaginary theories. These are realities incarnating. So you yourself have all of this in you.
Yeah, as Socrates said, that all knowledge is recollection. That it's not that you don't know these things. That the deeper levels of you, they know this. That it's out of which we have arisen, and so you have these things. But if they're working unconsciously, that's not good enough, really. What you want to do is be able to bring the light of consciousness. And that's something that Rudolf Steiner is very clear about. He said, if you do not develop a relationship with Christ while you're here on earth in the physical world, then you won't have the experience of Christ after death.